sunny. I'm sorry, I lied. And cold and dark and cloudy. Los Angeles, California. Thank you guys for listening to me right now live on the Good News Radio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio. And if you're watching me right now on YouTube live, shout out to you guys as well. So, crazy weekend. Well, not really, to be honest with you. That's kind of cliche to say. It wasn't really a crazy weekend in the NFL. It was super wild card weekend, but it was very, very, very disappointing. Had so many blowouts. The Bills annihilated the Patriots. The Bengals Raiders game was close at the end, but the refs made that game unwatchable. Obviously, the Bucks took care of business against the Eagles. The Cowboys Niners game actually lived up to the hype. At one point, it looked like the Cowboys may get blown out here, but in typical Dallas Cowboys fashion, they had to make it interesting at the end and have some drama. And that's exactly what you got. And then obviously at nighttime on Sunday night, now I didn't mind this blowout. The Chiefs took care of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Big Ben's retirement party. It was cracking. They won 42-21 after being down 7-0. But you knew that wasn't going to be sustainable. The Pittsburgh's offense is awful. Big Ben, Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. 2-time Super Bowl champion, but his better days are behind him. And then last night, I'm recording this on a Tuesday night, the Rams just embarrassed the Cardinals. I'm going to get to the Cardinals and the Rams too, especially OBJ. I'll get to them in a little bit because I have some things to say about that team, especially the Cardinals and their dynamic with Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. But before I do that, let me get into the dynamic of the Dallas Cowboys. So a lot of people, me included, felt like this was a different team. Obviously they've always had talent, but this team felt a little different. They had a mean streak about them. Micah Parsons, Randy Gregory, that D-line. Trevon Diggs led the league in interceptions. They were very, very balanced, at least the first half of the season on offense, with the run and Zeke and Pollard, and obviously Dak with his weapons, Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup before the injury, Cedric Wilson, things of that nature, right? They felt like a very complete team. But the one thing that gave me pause about them was their head coach, Mike McCarthy. He's not a good leader of men. He has terrible clock management. And I just can't trust him in big moments. It's clear that he was carried by Aaron Rodgers during those years in Green Bay. But with that said, he still underachieved. Winning one championship with Aaron Rodgers for the amount of time that you was with him is unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. So now looking forward, Dallas, luckily for them, their silver lining is that they are in the NFC least, where they will be the heavy favorite once again to win next year. I don't see anything major happening for Washington. The Giants, even if they get like a Russell Wilson, that roster, they can't stay healthy. In Philadelphia, yeah, I know they made the playoffs this year, but that was fool's gold. They only beat one team that finished with a winning record, and that was the Saints, who I don't know how the Saints won 9 games. I have no idea. And Jalen Hurts, in my mind, is just not a franchise quarterback. He's a great leader. He has all the intangibles, everything. But as far as his physical makeup, his limited arm talent, and he's a one-read guy. If his first read isn't open, he's tucking and running. So I just don't believe he has that high of a ceiling. I was never high on him, even coming out of college. Just never saw, he doesn't have that wow factor. He does nothing special. He does a lot of things, average, but there's no special component to any aspect of his game. So the Cowboys will once again be the heavy favorites in that division. They'll be in the playoffs. And that's their saving grace moving forward, because outside of that, their title window is closing and closing very fast. They have several unrestricted free agents, including the likes of Michael Gallup, Randy Gregory, Leighton Vander Esch, Cedric Wilson, DeMonte Casey, Jaron Kearse, Dalton Schultz. The list goes on and on. Oh, and by the way, Amari Cooper could be gone. You may be thinking, well, he's under contract for another 3 more years. Yes, he is, but the Cowboys do have an out, and they could save cap space by getting off of Cooper this offseason, which they probably will have to do because they're in cap hell. They're $13 million under right now. I mean, they're in a bad spot. They're in a really, really bad spot right now. Did I say that right? Under, over? I don't know. I said that wrong. I can't remember. But anyway, the point is the Cowboys are in the negative. They're negative 13 in the hole, 13 million right now as it stands. If you look at overthecap.com. That's not good, Jerry Jones. That's not good. It's not good at all. And obviously, Dak has been paid. He's due 34 million next year. Then after that, 45 million. And then the Cowboys do have a potential out after that. But man, tough spot. Tough spot. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, he's not the same, obviously. He's pretty much cooked at this point. Let's just be honest. He's a cooked product. But he's going to be on this roster at least 1 more year, because the Cowboys owe him money, a lot of money next year. And there's no way they can get out of that. Now, after next year, they have an out. So there's that. But, I mean, they're in a tough spot, man. They're in a really, really tough spot. Like I said, Cooper's going to get $20 million next year if he's on the roster. So I would expect them to get out of that, because you still have CeeDee Lamb on a rookie deal. Michael Gallup, he got injured, so maybe you can bring him back on a team-friendly deal, considering his injury. So a lot of questions to be answered there in Dallas, but they definitely missed on a big opportunity this year. In the NFL, man, windows don't stay open very long. I know we looked at the Patriots and Tom Brady. That's an anomaly. That doesn't happen very often. It's very, very rare. Very rare. I mean, only 2 teams in the history of this league have won 3 out of 4 Super Bowl championships. The Dallas Cowboys and the Patriots. And a very small few have won 2 of 3. It's hard. That's what the Chiefs are trying to do this year. The Chiefs are trying to win 2 out of 3 this year if they win the Super Bowl. So, I mean, it's hard. It's so hard. So, Cowboys fans, I know you're heartbroken right now, and you should be, because you guys fumbled a major opportunity. Thank you guys for listening to me right now live on the Good News Radio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio. And if you're listening right now on YouTube, appreciate you guys for tuning in. So I mentioned this at the top. The Rams just demolished the Cardinals last night out here in Inglewood. And that makes me question, where do the Cardinals go from here? Because now Kyler is eligible for an extension. Now they could just, do the player option thing, the 5th-year option, and not pay him and kind of wait it out for the next 2 years. But when you do that, now you may have a rift, because Kyler's going to be like, wow, you guys don't believe in me as your franchise quarterback moving forward. And I do believe he was injured during the second half of the season, because he did not look anything like the same Kyler. And I know D-Hop wasn't there, but my gosh, Kyler looked like he forgot how to play quarterback. So I do believe Arizona should pay him this offseason. Just get it out the way. Because the longer you wait, the more of a risk you take that the bag keeps going up. The price keeps going up, right? So just get it out the way now because you're not going to find nobody immediately that's going to be better than Kyler in the next 2 years. It's very, very unlikely. But as far as Cliff Kingsbury's goes, they have to consider if he's truly the guy. You know, I know he's good looking. He has the hair. He's stylish. He's fun. Came from Texas Tech. He coached Patrick Mahomes. But there's a trend going on, not just in the NFL, but back in college. His teams start off fast, but then they falter in the second half of the season. I can't explain it. I'm not sure what's the root of it, but it's a trend that we can no longer ignore. I mean, look, in 3 seasons in Arizona, he's 15-5-1, games 1 through 7, but he's 9-19 the rest of the season. At Texas Tech, he was 27-15 in games 1 through 7, and 8-25 after that. I mean, this is remarkable. We have too much data now to ignore this and say, you know, it was just a one-off or, you know, it was just a fluke. No, this has happened every single year that Cliff Kingsbury has been a head coach, whether in college or in the NFL. Now, I'm not saying fire the guy right now, but I would give him next year. You get D-Hop back, Kyler's healthy, and see what happens. But they built this roster to win now. And hey, the Super Bowl is in Arizona next year. This year it's in LA. Maybe the Rams go. Obviously, last year, Tampa Bay hosted the Super Bowl in Tampa. So maybe that's a good omen. If LA goes this year and plays in their home stadium, then this next year it's in Arizona. See what happens. But Arizona cannot falter this Kyler experiment because look at it like this. Kyler's young. We know that. And if you look at the NFC, unlike the AFC, he's really the only young quarterback right now that we feel can reach his ceiling. And we've seen him play. Because all the other quarterbacks in the NFC right now, they're either on their last leg or they're over 30. Tom Brady is 44. Aaron Rodgers is pushing 40. Matthew Stafford's over 30. Russell Wilson's over 30. I mean, look at the NFC. All these quarterbacks that are playing for contenders are old, except Kyler. Dak, he's pushing 30. So that's an interesting dynamic there. You know, you do have a guy like Trey Lance who hasn't played yet, who I envision will be the starter next year for the Niners. So that is one other young quarterback to watch out for in the same division, but we haven't seen him play yet. So, you know, the NFC, theoretically, on paper right now, for the next decade, is there for the taking if you're Arizona and Kyler. But you have to get the coach right. And I'm not saying Kingsbury is or isn't the guy yet. I think that's unfair considering the injuries they had this year. Obviously, J.J. Watt and D-Hop. So I'm willing to give them another year together as a duo, Kyler and Kingsbury. But that seat's getting a little warm. It's getting a little warm. That's all I'm going to say. Whose seat isn't getting warm is Sean McVay and OBJ. Hey, that rhymed there. That was pretty good. So I think it's safe to say that we can put it to bed now that Baker Mayfield was the problem. Wasn't hard to find out. And I know the yardage isn't really there for OBJ right now, but he's been a touchdown machine. And if I'm not mistaken, you know, the object of football and, you know, being an offense is scoring touchdowns. And nobody's done it better than OBJ since he's been a member of the Rams. He got one last night in his first playoff win. He's happy. He's talking after the game, talking about how, you know, this ain't nothing, basically. I'm paraphrasing here. You know, we have bigger goals. trying to make a deep run here. He's happy. He's smiling. You got the stars there. You got Jay-Z at the games. You got LeBron tweeting OBJ. I mean, he's in paradise right now. And he's a free agent after this year, but in my mind, I'll be shocked if he left LA. He's going to remain a Ram. And if I'm him, I'll finish my career here because you know they're going to spend the money. They're not afraid to give up draft picks. You're in LA. You're in a brand new shiny stadium. I mean, this is a perfect situation for him. You got Cooper Kupp there who's going to demand a lot of attention. Robert Woods is going to be back. Matthew Stafford still has a lot of years left. Big arm. You're in LA, big market. It's perfect for him. This is a perfect marriage. This could help rewrite the shape of his career because the trajectory of his career was on a downward slope in Cleveland. But now he's starting to feel like, kind of like that guy in New York again, which was another, obviously, the biggest market in the country. LA is the second biggest. So this is perfect for him. I'm happy for him. I love to see it. And people are eating their words right now that say he's done, he's washed, he's a bad teammate. That's not aging well right now. It's not aging well at all. Thank you guys for listening to me right now live on the Good News Radio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio. This is your host, Mark Gunnels, with another special edition of Mark My Words. So before I close out today, and I'm going to get deeper into this when I come back on Friday, obviously, when we get closer to the divisional rounds of the NFL playoffs. But Chiefs-Bills, that's obviously the marquee game of the weekend. Last weekend, it was Niners-Cowboys. It's Chiefs-Bills. I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Josh Allen threw 5 touchdowns against Bill Belichick on Saturday night. Then, less than 24 hours later, Patrick Mahomes says, "Hold my beer," and leads 5 touchdown drives in 10 minutes. I mean, just unreal. Both teams scored over 40 points. You can kind of feel the inner rivalry here. Like the Chiefs saw the Bills game the night before, and they're like, okay, we know when we win this game, we're going to play the Bills next week. So let's put on a show as well. So there's a lot of showmanship here going on. And like I said, I'm going to get deeper into it on Friday, but this will be the 4th meeting between Mahomes and Josh Allen. Mahomes is 2-1. They met last year in the AFC Championship game, so this will be their second playoff game against each other. It's early, but this is shaping up to be the next Tom Brady, Peyton Manning rivalry. It really is. They're both young. They both have similar play styles. Backyard football, big arms, mobile. Both play for very, very diehard fan bases. This is shaping up to be the next great quarterback rivalry for the next decade. And I can't wait. I'm giddy. I mean, no offense to Tennessee and Cincinnati, but this will be the de facto AFC Championship game between the Chiefs and Bills. You know what that music means? Thank you guys for listening to another special episode of Mark My Words. I'll be back on Friday to preview the divisional rounds of the NFL playoffs. I cannot wait, man. This is going to be fun. Make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast. Type in Mark My Words Sports. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mark A. Gunnels. I'm out.